I hope you're doing well. This is Tanya. I wanted to talk yarn and talk books today. It's Will Read for Yarn is the name of my channel. And I did do some reading to earn my yarn this summer. But before I start, I have to tell you, KnitCrate has a sale right now. The code for 60%, all of the already discounted skeins for members, 60%, it's called, here, let me look it up real quick. It's called, the code you use is moving sale, all one word, moving sale, and you get 60% off. I got far too many skeins and it came to about $5.71 per skein for just quality, amazing yarn. So it's a fantastic deal. So if you want to turn me off and go to KnitCrate, I totally understand. I don't blame you one bit. Go ahead and go do that if you want to. Otherwise, I'm going to talk about books, some of the books that I read this summer. Now, one of the books I read is Punching the Air. It's by Ibi Zoboi and Yusef Salaam. He's of the Exonerated Five, but he and his four friends were originally called the Central Park Five. They were accused of raping and brutally beating a woman in Central Park. They were all convicted, and it was before they used DNA, and there was DNA evidence at the scene, but it was probably about 10 years or so later before they processed the DNA from the attack, because the kids said, we didn't do this. And they were 16 years old at the time, and they were exonerated. Once the DNA evidence was processed, they found out that they really didn't do it. And so they were let go, which of course, unfortunately, they'd lost their youth. You know, I think they were there for about 10 years, from 16 to about 25 or so, which is horrible. And he is one of the collaborators on this book, one of the Exonerated Five. He put in some of his artwork that he created while he was in jail, and some of the details of the stories were from when he was in jail. The book's written in verse. It is a very well-written book, and it goes very quickly since it's written in verse. You have poetry that moves the story forward, and some of them I just sort of read through, but some of them were really powerful, and I would read and stop and go, wow, I really need to look at this and just sort of let that sink in. So sometimes it went a little more slowly when I really loved the poetry, and sometimes it went really very, very quickly. But it's a quick read. If you're interested, it's called Punching the Air, and it's about a young man who's also wrongly convicted. I really liked it, and I really liked Ibi Zoboi's style. So I actually I listened to the audiobook of Pride by Ibi Zoboi, and I loved it. It was a retelling of Pride and Prejudice. It's sort of, not necessarily retelling, but kind of a reimagining of it. And I'm a big Pride and Prejudice fan. I actually, almost every summer at some point, I'll read the book and I'll watch, I believe it's a 2005 movie, might be 2008. It's not the Colin Firth one, it's one with the dark hair. Oh, best Darcy, right? I love him. And so I will read that and watch the movie sometime, many summers, maybe not every summer. And so I did that, and then I ended it after I watched the movie. I read Pride by Ibi Zoboi, and it's really well done. It is a reimagining where the characters are all people of color, and it's set in modern times. I think in Brooklyn, if I recall correctly. And there are also other themes in there. Of course, class. You have class, which is an issue also in regular Pride and Prejudice and in the original. And then you have things of different cultures, and you also have the issues of gentrification of neighborhoods that is dealt with in it. And I just thought it was well written, and I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed sort of seeing, if I hadn't read Pride and Prejudice, I might not have enjoyed it as much, because it brought me, I was like, oh, I know what's going on here. I feel like I had the inside track, and I really like Ibi Zoboi's writing style. So I'm sure I'll be reading more of her stuff in the future. One of the other books I read this summer was oh my goodness, I'm blanking on it. I have it written down so I'll remember. I Am Legend. I Am Legend by Richard Matheson. It was written in the 50s, and it's sort of an early book with vampires or zombies. They're kind of very zombie-like kind of vampires. They only come out at night, but he's basically the last person on Earth, and it is not a Hollywood story. It is not a Hollywood ending. It is just so much about the psychological just drain and trauma of being all alone. All alone, no one nearby. And I guess sort of maybe coming off the pandemic, it made this feel just so much more depressing to me. It was just so horrible. I mean, during the book, I was like, why does this guy go on? It's horrible. It's really, it's a terrible solitary life that he's leading, and any glimmer of hope seems to be dashed. And it is not a sweet, uplifting Hollywood book, but I really am glad I read it. I thought it was very interesting, and it's surprising to me because I'm a big science fiction fan that I'd never read it before. And so if you are a fan of science fiction and you don't mind the depressing thought of being the last person alive, you might check it out. There's a movie. I watched the movie actually after I read it, and it is so much more uplifting and hopeful. And so you might enjoy that. Even if you don't enjoy the book, you might enjoy I Am Legend. But if you think I Am Legend is going to be the same in both, it is certainly not. Another book that I read was Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I have a little literary crush on Neil Shusterman. He was at the Teacher Librarian Conference. Well, not at, as our virtual Teacher Librarian Conference, and back in February. And a lot of my students read his stuff, and I knew that he's a good author because, I read Unwind before, and it was so good. If you haven't read Neil Shusterman's Unwind, it's very well done. And so I decided to read Scythe. And actually, I didn't read it. I actually did the audiobook for that one as well. And it was really good. It's an interesting premise. The premise is that it's a world where all problems have been solved. There's no death, there's no illness. If you get in an accident, well, then you have like these nano things that fix you. You don't feel pain because they take care of the pain for you. And once you reach a certain age, you can go back at any time. If you hit 50 and you're like, I want to be young again, just go back. You go in and they reset you to 20. And so you can get reset anytime you want. There's no hunger, there's no illness, no issues. But what that leads to, you can still have children and that kind of thing. And so what that leads to is you have to control the population. So part of the population is something called a scythe. And what they do is they go through and they kill people. There are a couple of ways to kill people other than being a scythe, but mostly you can get sort of fixed and reset. And so the scythe does permanently kill someone. And as you can imagine, that is an awful lot of power, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so there are issues that come up because if you're so far above anything, you can't be killed. You have the power to kill anyone you want. You can imagine who would want that job, right? Maybe not the most morally strong people. So it's very interesting. I read book 1, Scythe, and I have Thunderhead on my list, but I wanted to start a different book first. So right now I am reading This Is My America by Kim Johnson, and it's about a young lady who's trying to fight to get a justice project to take on her father's, he's on death row for murdering someone, and says he didn't do it, and she believes he didn't do it, and she wants someone to fight to prove that he didn't, and to take on his case. And so she's trying to get that, and her brother in the meantime is a huge track star, got a big scholarship, and is just a big star kind of thing. And that's about as far as I've gotten so far. And it's really good so far. It's written a little at a juvenile point, so I suspect it might be more 8th grade, more middle school than high school, but it does seem pretty good so far. So that's what I read this summer, other than some of my junk food books. I probably shouldn't tell you, but I like my paranormal romances. Dorinda Jones is just one of my favorites. They're sort of little junk food, quick read books that I just love. Her and Nora Roberts are 2 of my guilty pleasures. And so I've read some of those, but nothing to share. They're just fun. You know what I mean? So that's my reading that I'd love to share. And if you're interested in any of them, I'll put some little things at the bottom there with some links to them in case you're interested in reading the synopsis for each of them. Okay. Now, yarn. Let me tell you about yarn. I have here, I went to Cleveland with some friends. There's an old movie poster shop. I can't remember what it's called now there. And they love going there. They're big movie posts, like mostly stuff from the 20s to 40s. And they're just big fans. And so they went there for that. And I tagged along to just enjoy. I'd never been to Cleveland before. And so I got to just go around downtown, get on the little bike things and scoot around. And I just had a blast. Really had a very nice time while I was there. And but I did end up going to a yarn shop on my last day there, and I bought some yarn. So here's some of the yarn I bought there. What was the name of the place? It was Fine something. Maybe I didn't write it down. Fine Points in Cleveland. I loved this little shop. The ladies there were so nice, and I wanted red. And this is what I got. Isn't that gorgeous though? It's a Malbrigio. I didn't want a fingering weight yarn. I was like, I'm not going to do another fingering weight that I just end up putting off using. So I wanted something that was worsted, and just look at that color and that little depth. It's coming out a little bit brighter than it is in person, but not much. It's really pretty. So I got 2 of these skeins. The color is 415 Matisse Blue. It is machine washable, cold water, and it's made in Peru. And let's see. The name of it is called Rios, Rivers, I guess. And it's worsted weight, 210 yards, 100 grams. And it's 100% superwash merino wool. I can't wait to make something. I'll probably make a hat cowl set out of that. It's so pretty and so squishy and so soft. And I've never bought a Malbrigio. Can you believe that? I mean, I couldn't believe it. So I was like, yes, I'm so excited. I had such a hard time picking what yarn I was going to get. And that's all I bought, because those were, I think, like $15 or $16 each. And I was like, okay, I'm going to stop there. You know, I wanted to buy something while I was out of town, but I didn't want to buy too much. And I saw this, and this was the other yarn. Can you see just the depth of like black to orange in there? It's a fingering weight, which I didn't want, but I loved it so much. So it was between this and the blue that I had sitting on the table and did my eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And my 2 friends who went with me, they helped me out too. And they were like, oh, you know, go ahead and go with the blue. But then one of my friends went back in afterwards. I actually made some stuff for her. And she went and bought this for me. Wasn't that nice? She was like, no, you should have it. And so it's a 1 weight. It is not that one's a nice worsted. This is a 1 weight, 420 yards for the 100 grams. It is a 1 super fine. Use a gentle cleanser so you can wash it. Just use something meant for wool. The color's Copper Leaf, as you can see. It's by Matt Shibui, I guess. I've never purchased anything from this maker before. And this is colors from the desert. Oh, it's Madeline Tosh. Yes. I was looking a lot of her yarns. Gosh, she has some beautiful, beautiful yarns. Hand-dyed yarn. And just so excited to have this. It's so beautiful. And it's 100% superwash merino wool. Oh my goodness. That is so gorgeous. So I suspect I'll probably, since it's 1 weight, probably put 2 strings together and make a nice little shawl out of this. That's my plan. So beautiful. But then the other thing I did, I got a yarn out of another unexpected way. There is something through KnitCrate. If you're on the KnitCrate member website, there's a little button on the far right that says, what's it? Stashalong. So there's the stashalong.com where you can see people who are either showing their stashes, showing either stuff for trade or for sale. And there was someone who had an Expression Fiber Arts, Dewy DK, and I've had my eye on Dewy DK for a while because I want to try it out and see what it looks like in person. And this is very pretty. And so I saw this on the Stashalong website, but the seller, I can't remember her name. She was so nice. She couldn't get the payment thing to work. So what we did is I'm on Poshmark and she's on Poshmark. So she went ahead and put it on Poshmark for me and I purchased it there. And I'm so happy. I think it's so pretty. And it's kind of why I didn't want to buy blue at that yarn shop, because I knew I was getting a blue, but I couldn't pass up that beautiful, vibrant shade. But isn't that pretty? I think this is going to make another nice, I was going to make a hat cowl with this, But it's so beautiful and it is really pretty. I'm super excited. It's a thicker DK than I'm used to. It's a little bit thicker and it's got a fuzz, but not too much of a fuzz. You know what I mean? But that is just so gorgeous. So gorgeous. And a nice way to go with the Stashalong, get it a nice discount. I think it ended up being, I don't know, about $16 or $17 a skein. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it was 15 plus some shipping on there as well. So you might consider trying Stashalong. Definitely check out KnitCrate for that super great deal, 60% off per skein. Wow. And with the moving sale clue. All right. So I think that's all of my yarn. Let me show you the things I made. Now for my friend, I was already making stuff for her, whether she bought me that beautiful yarn or not, just because I love making stuff for her. She's just such a dear friend of mine. And so I made her a hat. She is thinner. She's a very petite, thin lady. And so she likes to wear hats and she gets cold. And so I made her with a nice thick 5-weight yarn. I made her a nice hat. Let's see, what is this pattern? This is a Bag-O-Day Crochet. It's called Crochet Slouchy Beanie. It's pattern number 760. If you haven't checked out Bag-O-Day Crochet, her patterns are so lovely and her tutorials are so easy to follow. She's amazing. And so this is her pattern. It's a lot of little, I think they're V-stitches in there with other stuff, and I loved it. So I had made her another hat with this exact pattern and with this exact yarn in a different color, and it's her favorite hat. So I had to make her a second one because I happen to have a skein of that color, and it's just a 1 skein project. And then I made her this hat. Now this hat is something of my own creation. I used the base beanie. It's actually something, I make a lot of this hat. This is my favorite. It's my own creation, but it's one of my favorites because I like the style of it. I do the base of a beanie in the round from the top down. So I do 12 stitches, double them up for 24, and then do 1 double, 1, 2. So 1 with a double crochet and then with 2 and 1 to increase. And I do that all across so that I end up with 36 here. And then I do 2 doubles and then 2 and 1 for the third. That gets me the third row. So I have 48. And then you do 3 regular doubles and then 2 and 1 for this one, which gets you 60. So it's 12, 24, 36, 48, and 60. Then after that, once I do that base, that's how I always do the base of all of my top-down hats. Then I go crazy and do what I want. Sometimes I'll do like a bobble row or just whatever it is I'm feeling like doing. So I'll do like a bobble row regular. But what I did with this one is I just went double crochet rows all the way down to probably about this point in the forehead. And then I did ribbing for the last part. This is my generic. I actually typed this out. Because I do it so often. And so what I did was front post, regular, front post, regular. So on the inside, I didn't do a back post. I don't enjoy doing back posts, so I don't do them unless I have to. But I love it because it does a little sort of upturned, cutesy little thing right there that I really like. And especially with my little flippy hair, I like having a little flip on the rim too. So, and she has an A-line bob, so it just sort of bounces out with the hat and she just looks darling in it. But I had to bring it home because I forgot to take scissors and a needle. So I had to come home and finish it, but I let her try it on and get it together while we were there. And she picked this yarn from my stash and I think it came out even cuter than I expected. I really like this yarn, lots of textures and colors in it. And then I decided to make a cowl with a similar pattern. So what I did is I knitted in the round with a twist. So I made a chain, clicked them together, did a double crochet around, and then when I got to the first point, I twisted it so that I would have a twist in the cowl up front, like that. So I did that, and then I just did double crochets until it was about 6 inches or so long. And once it hit about 6 inches wide, I decided to start my ribbing portion of it. And then I did, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 rows like that. And then it just does a little twist. Oops. So it does a little twist in the front, and she's very petite. So this is just going to be perfect for her along with the cute little hat. So I think she's going to love it. I hope she does. And I love the ribbing. I just enjoy front posts. I think front posts just look so classy. I really like them. And they do make it flip, like I said, right there. But it doesn't here. Here it's really solid and very, very nice. And has a nice stretch to it too. So that's the little hat, scarf, cowl set I made for her. And let's see, my next project is something I've been working on for a little while. I'll put the link to this one. It's coming along very nicely. It is it will be a cardigan, I think. I might end up just making it a short sleeved kind of thing, which I don't know if that makes it a cardigan or not anymore. It's a nice V-Stitch cardigan by Wilmade. And right now I'm working on the ribbing that goes all along the front. I reached a stopping point right there. I ran out of yarn. So I'm going to continue that on and do more ribbing. But what I think I'm going to do with this, and this is one of the things I love and why I love to do crochet and to knit as well, is I get to make this for me. I am going to go through and I'm definitely going to put a slit up the side. I'm an apple-shaped gal and slits up the side look really good with me. So I'll do a slit up the side. Actually, I think I'm going to do it a little bit longer than that. Probably about 4-inch slit up the side. And when I'm done with my ribbing here, I'll sew up my edges here. And then I suspect I'm gonna put, this is what the ends look like, the bottom, and it's just too unstructured for me. I suspect I'll add either a ribbing along the bottom. I've done that before and I liked it a lot to do an up and down ribbing, or I'll just do a couple of single crochets along the bottom and up along to sort of solidify my V on the inside. So the side slit for that. So then I'm going to do the sleeves, and I don't know if I want a full sleeve with this. I know full sleeves are elongating and they look really pretty when they go down to the bottom, sort of make your arms look longer, and it's very flattering. But sometimes I want the coverage for my arms and stuff, especially I wear a lot of things that are sleeveless. I don't know why, but I love sleeveless items. And so I wear something to sort of cover up my arms a little bit, but I get hot. So sometimes I like things to wear over, shrugs and things to wear over my dresses that have no sleeves, but I don't necessarily want something that goes all the way down to the bottom. So I'm considering I might do a short sleeve right above the elbow, or I might put it below the elbow with like a 3/4 sleeve and see how it looks. And if I don't like the 3/4, then I might do a full one. But that is the joy of making something. I mean, with the cost of this yarn, I could go buy a cardigan, you know, but because I'm making it myself, I can adjust it as I want. I can make the sleeves whatever length I think looks good on it. I can make a border along the bottom if I don't like the way it looks on the bottom, or if it's a little too short. I like things to lay certain ways on a little bit, tiny bit below my little belly, mama belly hang. You know what I mean? I like things to lay just a certain way on me. And because I do it myself, I have that power. I get to do it how I want to do it. In fact, one of the reasons I started crocheting again is I love beanies. I think they're so cute, but I have got a big old head. I have a big head, and I have no tolerance for things that are tied on my head. I think hairbands look gorgeous on me. They're so cute on me, but they give me a headache. Those little headband things, I can't wear them. I will sometimes take my wool and make a little headband that's a little bit loose, that doesn't really constrict my head, and I'll wear those because I think they're so cute. But I just cannot tolerate anything that it's like a little I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but it's like it's pressing against my skull, and it just gives me horrible headaches. Even if it's just sort of laying there, for some reason I'm fussy. So I make my hats a little bit loose, and standard hats I go to the store and buy are super tight on me. So that's the joy of crochet. I can make my hat however loose I want it to be so that I can wear it. Now this one I would never wear because it comes in too tight, but my friend has a smaller head than I do. So she actually has a smaller head than standard. So she loves having me make her hats because they look great on her. They look perfect on her. And that is the joy of making things ourselves, right? I mean, I might be able to get the same thing for the same price, but this is custom made just the way I like it. So I think that's the one thing I really love about doing things for myself. And I think the other one, of course, is what pride we get. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't have a ton of friends I can make stuff for. I am sure that you guys are probably in the same situation. I don't have a lot of friends that appreciate it. You know, there's some people like, oh yeah, that's really nice, a beanie. I could have gotten this for $1 at Old Navy. And I'm like, no, you couldn't, but whatever. So those are the people you don't make for a second time, but I'm so happy to have a couple of friends that love getting stuff from me so that I can share my passion and my joy with them as well. So there's one more thing I made for my friend. I had to go find it. I thought I'd put it in here, but I forgot. And I made her with that beautiful sparkle yarn that's on sale for $2.99 a skein at Premium or Premier. I made her one of these boho shawls. One of the nice things about this shawl is I can do it in my sleep. You know, so while we were on the plane together, I made it, and in the hotel room when we were watching TV, I worked on it. And so when I came home, I just had a couple of rows to finish up and I was all done. So I made her this, and I want to show you just the yarn. Can you see the different colors? So you have like the blues, sort of a brownish color in there with the beautiful sparkles. So this is going to be, I just put it out last night. I can't remember what it's called. I blank sometimes on words. I hope you guys do that too. I blocked it last night. But it's so pretty in this yarn. This is that yarn I was raving about. I just love it. So I made her a scarf. I think this took like 1.5 skeins or so. And I bought, oh goodness, I got more on sale. So I think I bought like, I don't know, I probably still have like 11 or 12 skeins left. So I have lots of stuff I can still make with this, but I think she's just going to love this. She gets chilly sometimes. So I think this will be lovely for her to just wrap around herself and have a little bit, even if it's just at home, she can have just a little bit of sparkle and shine there. So that is that just fascinating yarn. I don't know why I'm so fascinated by it, but well, and the price is right. I like things that are, the price is right. So those are my things that I made. And there's just one more thing that I purchased that I want to tell you about. Maybe you're like me and you've been using old cardboard and stuff to do your blocking. I know I might not sound cheap, but I'm a little cheap. And so I, for a long time, refused to buy the blocking squares, and I finally did it. I think these were on Amazon for $25 with, I can't remember how many of these, about 2 packs of them because some of my things are kind of big. I want to say it was 9, but it might have been 12 blocks. And it came with like 100 pins and a measuring tape. And I can't tell you how much nicer it was to block this than everything else I've always blocked using cardboard. Like anytime I got a big cardboard box, I was like, all right, set that aside for me. And I cut it up and I pinned stuff in it. And it's so much nicer having these. I mean, I thought maybe it would be, and I figured if it wasn't, I'd send them back. And like I said, I just used it last night and I was like, this is so nice. So if you're a cardboard gal, consider maybe when your birthday or when Christmas comes up, put that on your wish list because it's actually really nice. And remember, or get it for yourself. And remember that Amazon takes stuff back really easily if you don't like it. So I will definitely do a video again as soon as I get my yarn in from KnitCrate, which could be, a month from now. We'll see. But I hope you're doing well. I hope you're working on your projects. I can't wait to hear about them. If you do have, someone actually from the last video sent me a shawl recommendation, a shawl pattern recommendation, and I tried looking for it and I couldn't find it. So I'm going to ask her another question. She said it was from Yarnspiration's Simple Shawl, and I found a red heart one, and I'm wondering if that's the Simple Shawl. I don't know, but if you have any shawl recommendations, I am so into shawls right now, and I don't want to make another boho shawl. I have a lot of boho shawls, and maybe you have a good hat one. I saw one on Bag-O-Day Crochet. I've never been tempted by those little crocheted hats, but I got this. I get a FabFitFun subscription box service. I love it. If you haven't tried it yet, go check it out. And this hat came in a mystery box. Now, I don't know if you can see how tight it is, but yeah, it hits right about here, and it's still really tight hitting right up there. I told you guys, I have a big old fat head. And so, and look, all this, it gets big. Yes, but I saw it on me and I went, you know, other than it being so ginormous, I kind of dig it. So I might go find myself a hat pattern and try it. Because I figure if this is semi-cute and it looks like it's made, it feels like and sounds like it was made with like plastic bags. I mean, this is not a pleasant little hat. I thought, you know what, I can probably find a nice yarn, maybe one of those linen cotton blends I hate so much and feel sort of waxy to me. Maybe I'll make something like this. It's kind of fun, right? Just, it would give me a headache, so maybe I need to make my own. But if you have any other suggestions, I'd love to hear them, and I hope you're enjoying your yarn. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Bye!